kind of figure out what we want to do down the road there. And it would also make us functionally sound. You know, we had to do some things to make those unfinished areas workable, because it was just an old warehouse. So we had to run some cabling and some things back to there to get some computers to run. But so it's functional, though I do think that if we get that done, and we would be in better shape. And then you can figure out as a group what we want to do, and then go from there. So I think that's a good possibility. I want to throw that out there as a suggestion from an operational perspective.
So Chief, where are we right now? What should we look at for phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 as far as the costs go right now? Which one of these pages should it be?
If you go to the December 5th memo
Okay.
from Riley, it kind of gives you an overall.
Is this the one with the green and the white?
No.
Because that's what I need explanation.
Yeah, yep, that was, that's part of it.
I would like someone to walk us through that.
Sure,
Just wait until I get to December 5th memo.
yes.
Got it.
Or the December 5th PowerPoint, correct.
Well, I'm looking at a December 5th, 2016.
Memo from Riley. Yep.
Yeah.
The next page should be a spreadsheet.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So that was the spreadsheet that Riley put together pre-construction based upon Zimmerman's numbers pre-purchase. Is that correct, gentlemen? Does that sound correct?
Yes. Yes.
So the white, the numbers in the gray were
So give me
Zimmerman.
some numbers for
Yep.
phase 1.
Phase 1 was, well, we did it at 975,000.
So, and that's on this page somewhere.
Well, it would be, it's
Looking for it.
1.534 for PD.
5, 3, 4. Could you just go through each column? I just want to know what green means. What
Sure. The gray columns on the top are the white paper, Zimmerman's estimated numbers for construction. The green numbers, Riley happens to be green, the company logo, are their numbers that their estimator vetted based upon the master plan that was presented on December 5th.
Okay, so one was like in 2015 and the second one was a year later.
Yeah, I think you did yours, John, 2000, early
Yeah, it might have been
15.
ahead of that even.
Yeah. And remember, Zimmerman had did some work for us early on, I think, too, so I'm not talking for them, they can talk for the numbers, but that was probably done in late 14, early 15. Riley's numbers were vetted from their estimator based on the master plan that was presented on December 5th. Okay?
So the first column where it says garage and booking,
Yep,
it was estimated at 886.
correct.
And then it came in right before construction at 1.4
For,
million. So it came in over. Building improvements are a new category,
yep, that's the roof and the HVAC.
okay? And then if we just continue, PD would be the offices you're talking about,
Correct,
not the garage, right?
that's correct.
Okay, and then the public space, I noticed, went from 667 down to 262,
Correct.
and I just wanted to know why.
I think, and Riley can talk to that, but I don't know what they consider that space to be. And if you look at, they can talk, but the community space shrunk in that master plan. And that's, I remember Trustee Aventa asking, you know, when we first talked about the community room, it was much bigger. So they're estimating that at this little room down here. Now, if you look at the master plan for today, it's much bigger. And I think you guys can talk that, but I don't know what you consider that room to be. I think it did have to do with the conceptual phase of these budgets and that things were somewhat in flux when we were looking at it from the time John budgeted it to the time we were putting our numbers to it. Things were kind of being massaged. I think that's part of what changed the numbers. This, again, was very high level and early on. Our actual construction budget is the next one that we haven't gotten to yet.
This is all just projections, we're not.
From
we're not
correct,
actuals yet.
Yeah. Correct, yes. This was the projected, very schematic early on budget.
I understand, I'm just trying to figure out what goes into the final budget, the actual budget. So garage and booking, we did separately, or are they still together for phase two?
We did the booking room.
So in this column somewhere, some booking room was pulled out.
That's correct.
And do we know how much that booking room was?
It ended up being
114,000.
114,000.
And so that would come out of this
Yep.
1.4 million.
Correct.
Okay. And that leaves the garage, which looks like it would be the remainder of those funds.
Correct.
So 1.4 minus 114, and then that'll give you the garage, it will estimate. And then PD is now estimated, so that's for the second phase, the office? Or was that part of the first?
The PD is part of, that was all,
It's all phase one.
all phase one.
That is now complete.
It's complete, okay,
Yep.
thank you. And then you have public space, which is phase 3?
Correct.
And when we did the total budget in 15 and 16, did it include the public space?
The white paper?
I don't care, whatever we adopted, because it's listed out here as a full cost.
Correct. Adopted when?
When did we adopt the budget?
For first phase?
No, the public space, yes, that's what I believe is represented here is the community.
Oh, yeah.
And when did we adopt that budget?
You adopted the 3.5 million marked left, but that was in middle of 2015. That was adopted, that was for the long range plan, and then you borrowed for 3.5. And the 3.5 million was for the purchase of the building and for first phase.
Okay, so nothing else was ever adopted, like,
Correct.
these are just costs that were shown?
Yeah, right, yeah, correct, yep. Yeah, none of these are, nothing was, these were all estimates even before we actually started construction.
So the only thing that we have left, where's the numbers in this for what you're proposing, which is not the garage, but is to finish
If you
off?
go to the last page on the the last page of the PowerPoint,
No, I know, but where on our estimations on this page do they fall? Right, under PD?
correct.
So it's not all done, PD.
No, second column is the garage and the booking room. Down the booking room, so you subtract out the booking.
And you just-
Yeah, and if you go, and you also gotta look all the way down to the bottom, so there was 1.5 for the PD, all, the first phase, and we did it for 975. But remember, the phase one that we showed you did not include some of the office space that we're doing, that we're proposing to do now.
I'm sorry to make it simple, so all the costs were on this page, and I just want to know, I can do that, I can take the booking room out of the 1.4, and I'll get the garage costs.
Okay?
In that garage cost, does that include these finishing out of the, does it include the cost for, what do you just call this, phase 2?
Like your investigators and stuff,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
it didn't. You took that out of actually the PD piece.
Okay, so whatever so this column includes this phase 2 that we haven't done yet, PD. This one does, and then the actual, so you take this minus the actuals and you get the amount left for phase 2 office.
Correct.
Okay.
But make sure you take that, the bottom number, which is the grand total budget, is 1.534, keep that in mind. Minus the 975,
Yes.
yeah. And so you get right around 650, something like that.
Where's the 975?
That's what we did, that's what we spent in first phase.
And is that shown on here somewhere?
You're looking at, well, you're looking at the document, which one document?
I'm looking at that.
Yep,
The 975 is not on here.
Okay.
right, it's in the 1.534, correct?
Correct. This is the original schematic budget. So
So
the
in the
actual,
1.9534, we actually spent 975
That is correct.
to accomplish everything in there,
Correct.
which is PD, which is the stuff that's done right now.
minus some of the investigator offices that we're talking about now that are part of 2A. So we did take some of the offices out of the 1.5 and push them to phase 2. And that's the 600,000 that's left over between the 1.5 and the 975 that we actually spent.
So phase two you have on this last page is a scale down. You have a budget of 872,000 just to create that little grouping of.
And some garage space. Now, we couldn't, and John can attest to the garage space for him. It was difficult for him to figure out exactly what he thought, how much garage space we could buy for that, and certainly he's here.
We don't have a picture of what that 872 is.
Yes, well, it would be
Those offices, but in terms of the garage, what the garage space is.
correct. So how much garage space you could get is dependent on that. But if you look at the green, what we're proposing for that would be all the office space.
Right.
And not the, and if we chose to dip into this garage, we could do that again, though I think that's problematic. So I think if we're gonna do the garage, we should do it all at once, instead of trying to buy as much garage.
And the thought is, the concern that you're bringing up is for underground utilities that might come in, water and sewer service?
Correct.
Water and sewer, and there's some other things that kick in once you hit garage space with fire protection and some other things. The second,
HVAC systems, exhaust systems.
a lot of things kick into when you go into the garage that don't when you talk about the office.
So it's not, I was understanding that it was, I thought you had said that we don't want to do the whole garage now because we wouldn't want to do the whole garage and have to rip it up to accommodate the construction in the new space.
That is true.
And that was suggesting to me there's going to be stuff in the new space that isn't necessary in the garage.
Say
The
it again.
community space, the purple space.
That would depend on what you put in there. If you put like bathrooms and that kind of stuff, there would be the sanitary and your storm. That naturally, that would be one of your main ways to get that to cross connect. Would be coming that direction.
But do we have connections there now? I mean, isn't that all warehouse and
Isn't
not?
it all in the front where the bathroom is now? There was a bathroom space, right? When
In
we
the
toured
ch-
the space, there was a little kitchen and bathroom
Yep.
right there.
That's in that
Why would
space.
you go through the
Coffee and
garage?
kitchenette,
It would disrupt the current police department. But yes, you could go to the, I don't know what direction that is, Plan East.
I have a question about the community room. It looks like on this, when we did do the estimations to compare it in 2015 and then updated it in 16 on this November 16, it looks like the community rooms costs are included in the 3.8 remodel costs that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then when it was updated, it's still 3.6, but it was at that much smaller room. So do we have an up,
I think I would assume that room got smaller, but other rooms got bigger. Right, so it's correct.
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. It's fungible.
Yeah, I mean, like.
The 3.6 is still the entire building.
Yeah.
That's the thing, stepping way back is how much the whole project we had anticipated for the purchase. I thought I had a chart, the acquisition costs for the building environment, and then the construction.
Yeah.
And where are we at in the,
Yeah.
not all, lit, but overall, are we still on target for the whole project?
Well, if you remember, the white paper had estimated 1.16 1.66 on the high side for all other PD, and then the 886 for the garage and booking, and then.
Wait, 1.1 for what?
1.116, I think, I mean,
For what?
for all other PD,
All
What does that mean?
other PD, what's that mean? Yeah.
but just for the office space.
1.1?
And .886 for what?
For the garage and booking. And that was Zimmerman's eye level prior to purchasing the building. We came back in December 5th with Riley's numbers, which were there
In green.
and comparative. So, we're at, I mean, the white paper had 1.9 for booking, garage, and PD, estimated at 1.9.
That's the 1.116 plus the .886?
Yep.
Okay.
866, correct.
866.
886.
886. I'm going off memory.
That'd be all,
That'd
the
be everything,
community, the garage, everything you need in the community room,
correct.
1.9, okay.
Both